welcome to day 19 of our anti-anxiety journaling workshop. Now, when we speak about anti-anxiety tools with the help of journaling, there is so much to cover, and we can actually speak about so many aspects that can come along when we speak about anxiety. Now, there are a few people who are starting this process right now. So those who are already professional in this process, I will request you to just hold on till I kind of revive some instructions, which are very, very new instructions for people. Hello everyone, hello Manpreet, hello Rachana. So when we speak about this process is built in 3 steps. First, very simple, you actually watch the video that we are making right now, and every day has a dedicated video. Starting from 20 minutes to up to an hour, but make time to listen to that video. Second part of the story is when you do graphotherapy, which is your stroke, which is called a flow of thought stroke. So when you look at flow of thoughts, what you're doing, you're literally using the stroke to communicate with your mind, with your body, and it's a very, very powerful process. The third one is to respond to a question. Now, while responding to a question, you literally pick a point, you pick a question that I'm asking, and you start responding everything that comes to your mind. There is no right answer and there is no wrong answer. There are some people who are telling me, but I struggle to get the correct answer. Some questions just do not open up, some questions just do not give me anything to write. Now, even if that is happening, that's absolutely fine. Just stick around with the process. Do not try to force yourself into answering anything. Make sure that you stay in the process and let the process happen. Which means if you ask a question and you don't get anything in your mind, wait it out. Wait pretty much for 1 minute. Then again ask the same question and wait for the response to come. Now, what do you mean by response to come? Like, what is this process about? Now, all the responses to these questions or all the responses to your internal conflicts are actually with you. But because we have no way to connect to that method, to connect to that reservoir, to connect to that well of knowledge or emotions, we feel we are only stuck on the surface level. We can't dive deeper and we can't find the pearls that we require to resolve our problems. Now, how can we actually access it? We have to create an environment where you feel comfortable asking these questions, you feel comfortable in responding to these questions. So it has to be a process that you thoroughly enjoy, the process which might be uncomfortable. But if you're committed enough, your mind will know it can speak with you, it can give you feedback. It's almost like, there are a few people to whom if you give feedback, they don't know anything about it. They ask you, okay, tell me what should I do, and then you think about their problems, you think about what all they can do, and then you come up with a best possible solution that they can use. And then they don't use it, and they never tell you why. And that happens and next time if the same person comes and asks you for an advice, what would you do? You would say, yeah, whatever, I'll think about it. You might not take that person that seriously, right? Now, the same process happens with your own mind. If a part of you that is constantly trying to guide you, maneuver you, and tell you to not live the life which is filled with fear or anxiety, but because of certain training, you dismiss that part, you do not let that part even communicate with you, then there is no response. So it is not possible that you don't have the moments of flow. I'm referring to a specific question asked by Robin. There is no possibility that you would not have moments of flow. It's just that your mind doesn't know, Robin, and there you are. I was referring to your question right now, and if you actually respond and if you keep asking the question at least 3 times, you may start seeing that underneath this thick layer of how things are not working and how people are so tough and how they are not caring enough, you may find your moments of truth, your moments of calmness, your moments of flow. Now, to find those moments, all you require to do is literally give yourself that space. Now, journaling is a very, very strong method through which we are trying to create it. We're trying to create multiple attempts to reach out to that inner voice and open up that grip of your fixed ideas about who you are, how things should be, how your relationship should be, how everything is, how everything shouldn't have been, and all of that. Now, today's question is actually based on this obsessive behavior that we show. Today's question is opposite of intensity. Like yesterday I spoke about going in a flow and being completely intense. Today, on the contrary, I want to speak about being gentle. Now, most of us do not know what that means. Most of us are so busy performing and presenting and showing up or showing off more than anything else that we miss the point that we can truly be gentle with ourselves. To be gentle with ourselves, we have to really find a way to calm ourselves down. To be gentle with ourselves, we have to have that one moment of poise to know it is okay to have this emotional floodgate open. It is okay to have a struggling situation. Not everything has to be perfect, and we logically get it. But when it comes to experiencing it in reality, we tend to stop ourselves from that realization. We tend to push ourselves in the corners. We tend to be so harsh because that's what we have seen other people do to us. We have had moments where when we wanted to cry, when we wanted to feel upset, even those men who are on this program and who will be watching this video, this is for you guys too. And I know there is so much of discussion now coming about how it is important even for men to express their emotions freely, and all the programming and all the conditioning that we are pushed into. But I also want to speak with the strong women who always stay collected and make sure that the whole role is played in a manner that they do whatever is required for other people. Many a times these strong women do not take a moment to breathe and be gentle to themselves, and that is not okay. It is okay to be broken, it is okay to be imperfect, it is okay to sulk, it is okay to go through the emotions that you're going through. But I feel it is not okay to let the fear paralyze you. Also, it is not okay to deny yourself the space where you can acknowledge that you have a problem. And I have met so many people, so many women to be specific, who are so strong when it comes to their responsibilities and their world out there. They totally miss this point. They miss this point that they require to be gentle. And let me tell you what happens. When you constantly deny yourself that space, you're like, no, I have this next thing to deal with. I'm not. So there are these long breaths that you take and then you push yourself through the journey. And then you take one more long breath and then you push yourself. It's almost sounding like labor pain as I'm describing it. But if you look at it, that's exactly what happens. You breathe, you push, you breathe, you push. And you reach a point where it becomes unbearable. And then you have this emotional blast. You react, you become uncontrollable. You do not let your emotions have any outlet on the way. So there is the last moment where there is the only option of having a blast. And when you blast like that, people around you think you're hysterical. They think that you do not understand, you're not mature, you're behaving like a girl. And then you play all those judgments on yourself, and then that weighs you down. So it was already a situation where you didn't know how to find your outlet or your sense of being gentle with yourself. And now you also have the burden of judgment. Now I know this point is easier said than done, because we also don't know what exactly gentle looks like. What is this idea of being gentle? What exactly do you do when you want to be gentle? What exactly do you create? What exactly happens? Now, being gentle is actually giving yourself the space to know what you require. We are, as people, as a society, we are so highly driven by everything that would be approved and everything that would be disapproved. So we constantly try to stay in this approved zone, and then we constantly try to move away from disapproved zone, to look presentable, to look correct, to look, respected, so-called, in the society. Now, if we take a moment and think about this, if that is done because you really value these people whose opinion you are using as a guiding tool, then it's a great idea. But if you do not actually have a connect with these people, then their opinions can drive you crazy. So it's not only being very numb and saying, I don't care about other people's opinions, because that never happens. You do care about opinions, and I think you also must care about opinions of those who matter, those who are close to you. Now, how do we know who are these people who matter to you? So, Brené Brown speaks about two aspects. She says, one, those people who are with me, who love me for my strengths and also for my struggles. First, very important point. Like, it's important that we are open to the opinions of those few, those who love you for your strength and your struggle together. And second type of people who you believe are completely neutral to your journey. They don't have any vested interest. So their opinion is not about they getting their way around you, but a neutral opinion. So these two types of people, you can also make a list of these people and know that when these people say something, I want to be open to hear what they want, whatever they are saying. I don't want to have my barriers. I also don't want to have so much of malleability that I would not pay attention to my own inner voice. So sometimes people either follow everybody's opinions, or they become completely numb and they don't follow anyone else's opinion. But it's important that your close ones give you feedback when you're going so-called wrong, when you decide what you want to do. But if you are close to their opinions, then it's a difficult story. Like, imagine you have some mark on your face and you are about to leave, and your close ones can't tell you that you have this big, lipstick mark on your face and you need to wipe it. If they don't tell you that, you would never ever know it, and you may go out and with that mark, in this case, with that faulty behavior, with that temper, with that very, very stuck point of view, you might just believe that your action is correct. So you require this support group, and all of us require this support group. It's very, very important. So you require this support group which helps you look at things for what they are. So who are these people? First category, people who love you for your strengths and love you for your struggles. Very important. Second one, people who are absolutely neutral to your journey without any vested interest. They can look at you and they can give you feedback. So if you surround yourself with people like this, it becomes easier for you to move forward in your own journey. Okay. Now we are speaking about why it is important to be gentle with your own self. It is not always about being gentle with other people, but it is important that you're gentle with your own self. Now, if you constantly have a thought process where you judge other people, where you're critical of other people, where some people just get to your nerves, now this is a great mirror. And I'm not saying whether that behavior is correct or incorrect, because I do not know. And I can't comment about your behavior without knowing where you come from, so I would not. But one thing I know for sure is when somebody is very, very judgmental towards other people, those people, to my mind, 100% of the time, but if not, if for your comfort, 95% of the time, are very, very judgmental towards themselves. If people are unforgiving towards other people, chances are they're unforgiving towards themselves. So most of the time, the kind of emotions that you feel towards other people are also very operative emotions that you're constantly feeling towards yourself. It's not the easiest thing to look at. It's not the simplest thing to consider. But if you understand it, if you can be objective, then you will see how you have been very, very harsh, very, very unforgiving, very, very critical, very, very judgmental towards yourself. And if you want to quickly think of an example, think of a moment of embarrassment. Think of a moment where you truly felt embarrassed. Not where you should have felt embarrassed. No one cares about that. Where you genuinely felt embarrassed. What was your immediate thought? Not what you said out loud. That also doesn't matter. What was your immediate thought to yourself? Now that tells you how you treat yourself. You go like, how could you be so stupid? Why didn't you pay attention? This is unacceptable every time. This is not you saying to anyone else. All of this you are saying to yourself when you feel embarrassed. So it's important that dialogue when you felt embarrassed the last time, or when if you know how you feel what you say and what you experience when you feel embarrassed, you will know what I'm speaking about. So when it comes to being gentle, it definitely demands that you pay attention to your self-dialogue. Now, what is today's question? Today's question is, what will you do to be gentle with yourself right now? And by gentle, it might mean that you need to take a breather. That might mean that you need to spend an hour by yourself reading something that you always wanted to. Be gentle means taking that 1 hour and crying because you feel so bottled up or so pressured or so scared that you cannot just pretend that everything is normal. Being gentle means doing what is required for you to feel calm, for you to feel connected to yourself. Now, we don't know exactly what that means to you, and I'm so sure that you wouldn't know what that means to yourself. You may think that, I'm trying to be gentle, but if you're rushing yourself through the process, if you're not giving yourself enough time to collapse and to get up again, then that is not being gentle. If you're constantly saying, you haven't achieved this, you haven't got this, why are you not being there? All of these thoughts are not about being gentle. So if you have anything which is similar to these thoughts, then it is a great time for you to think about it. Because if you're not gentle with yourself, then you will never fill, or I would say refill, the nurturing tank that you require to walk through life. So if you don't refill that tank, and if you just go around feeling exhausted, guess what happens to you at the end of the day? So another way to know how you treat other people is, or yourself, is to find out 3 people you love the most and 3 people you hate the most, or 3 things about these people you hate the most. You need not name the person, it doesn't matter who the person is. I'm rather referring to traits. So if you say, I like this person because, or I like these kind of people because, so pick up 3 traits that you really adore. And then think about 3 traits that you really detest or can't stand. Take a moment, think about it. Now, all the things that you thought about, which you think are your favorite, in some way, subconsciously, you're telling yourself, you're giving that reverse mechanism, using the reverse mechanism and telling yourself that you have or you wish to have these traits in you. Is it true? Think about it. Go through your list. You either have those traits or you wish that you would have these 3 traits for yourself. So that is the first category. Second one, things that you detest, things that you hate about other people. Same thing is applicable. These are the things you wish should not ever get to you. You do not want to behave like this. That person is a cheater. I cannot imagine being that person. I cannot hold that thing. Whatever you have so much of resistance for. Why do you have that resistance, by the way? If it is really not in your periphery, it is not something that you would walk down the path, then why do you feel that you have to stop yourself from going there? It's like somebody who used to be fat, and that person like really held on to the regime of following some non-sugar, non-fat, whatever diet that person followed. And now after having achieved the control, when the person feels tempted to reach out, then they become very, very critical. They're like, no, 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 you can't go, because once you go down that path, you cannot stop. Now that is the point. That is the point. It's whatever you love. It's so simple to believe that I want to imbibe all those traits. But that is also applicable about things that you do not love, things that you hate, things that you detest in other people. So when we are constantly commenting about the world, it is also a great mirror for us to look at what is the self-dialogue that we are having about our own selves. And how are you treating yourself? Most of the time this is the exact manner. The way you treat other people is the exact manner you're treating yourself at a very subconscious level. So you might not be doing it consciously, you might not be even aware of it. And I know that. I'm bringing these tools and methods and tests just so that you will remember these moments and you will remember these realizations next time you are in a situation like that. Now, I realize being gentle also requires understanding where do you indulge and what information or what conversation do you repeat to yourself. Now that's also very, very important, and I have covered this when I spoke about holding on to some form of anger, and I said it's almost like holding a burning piece of coal. So your hand is burning and you're like, I don't want this, but I cannot drop it because it's so important. I'm so correct. Now I remember I was going through this conflict, and when I was parting ways with my ex-husband, there was this one fight where other people were sitting and it was an open discussion. And I remember in that one conversation, he said a few things that I just could not let go of. For 6 months after that one meeting, I kept on stepping into that meeting and mentally kept having conversations with him saying that, but how could you say this? No, but that never happened. Why would you say something which wasn't true? I don't even know whether he was correct or he was not correct, because that was his choice and I cannot justify my choices or his. So that's not the point of this conversation. The point was I felt emotionally violated. I felt emotionally, I can't say abused, but I felt somebody intervened, stepped on my boundaries, and it wasn't okay. Now to defend that idea, to defend the experience of being violated, I kept on repeating that episode in my mind. And that was not gentle. Every time I went down that restaurant, every time I went down and mentally sat in the same chair, every time I looked at him or everybody around the table, I kept on putting myself through the same experience of feeling violated again and again and again. Now, if I may think that he was incorrect to do this and how could he do it, but with all due respect, he did it once. But I did it for 6 months, almost every day. Now I wonder who was more abusive in this conversation. So if you are doing that to yourself, if you are really picking up an event, a situation, a terrible, terrible emotional experience and repeating it over and over again, then it is not only about the other person. We must take a moment and with all honesty and authenticity to ourselves, we must know that it is also us who are inflicting the same emotion, the same pattern, the same challenge on ourselves mentally when nobody is watching. You may do it to justify that feeling. You may do it so that you get over with that emotion. Tell me, if you take a pencil and if you draw one line, now you say, oh wait a minute, I think I can retrace that line. And then you say, oh, today also I want to retrace this line. Then you wake up after 2 days and you say, no, I want to retrace this line again. Will it actually go, or will it become firmer and darker and stronger in your memory? What would happen? So I know we are naturally justifying these habits because we have seen other people do that. But if everybody decides to get infected with coronavirus, And if people decide to stay out and go out and they say, okay, I'm not gonna believe in social distancing because I don't care and I will be able to figure it out, and you can see that the methods that they are using will lead to infection, will you still go ahead and do it? If not, then why would you do that with our emotions? Why would you do that method of feeling infected because everyone else is doing it? Because other people are believing in it, other people are looking at it from that perspective. Why do we continue to do the same thing? I know we do that also because we don't have other tools, other methods, other ways of looking at things, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. We are saying that that's not the only way to break it or make it, but we are talking about right now. And that's why the word right now is so operative. If you choose to be gentle with yourself right now, what would you choose? I don't want to know what would you choose in the future, what you would have chosen in the past. We do not know. Because as I said, personalities are like rivers. You cannot step into the same personality again. So if that is true, then we don't know what will happen tomorrow, what will happen after 5 years. But what is important that right now, in this moment, if you have to be gentle with yourself, what would you do? Would you bury certain things that were not kind in the past? Would you really pick up certain aspects and start embracing yourself differently? Would you breathe and give yourself a little breather on things that you're really harsh about? What would you do? Make a list, also be slightly descriptive. Because when you think about gentleness, is not the pointers. When you think about gentleness, it is about thinking what makes you feel nurtured, what makes you feel loved. And you may think that I want to be loving towards the other person. I want to be this best friend who can really provide a space for the other person to feel loved and, not judged at all. If you ever want to do anything for other people, you have to be that person to yourself. If you're not that person to yourself, if you are critical, many women, many parents, even men for that matter, they want their kids to imbibe a skill set. Now, I don't have a child and I cannot comment about this openly or with complete authority, I understand. But when I hear it from other experts and other parents, when they feel calm, the kids start feeling calm. When they feel hyper and critical, the kids feel the same way. And somebody who is I don't want to be judgmental by making this comment, so I'm thinking and using correct words. But somebody who has not figured their financial situation, who are struggling and they're constantly, not able to earn or keep their money, and now that person decides to give you an advice about how you must take care of your money without having any educational background, will that be the easiest thing for you to accept? The same thing happens with emotional bank. When people are not calm, if people are stuck, if people are feeling anxious all the time and they tell you how to feel calm without implementing it, then it becomes very difficult for you and your kids and your family members and your friends to accept that advice from you. Now you may think, but I'm telling you, and why are you not listening to me? Because probably you're not listening to yourself, dear. And that is the point to make. So if you think other people are not getting you, not listening to you, not valuing you, I would do one thing. I would hold a mirror in front of me and ask myself, am I doing all these things to myself that I'm expecting other people to do to me? That's the point. So if you're new on this platform, or if you're watching this replay video, and if it is your day 1 or if you're in week 1, just make sure that you do your graphotherapy, which is your S-stroke practice, and send it to us on the Insta DM messages. We will give you feedback. We want to make sure that you do this practice correctly. It shouldn't be an incorrect stroke because it is an effective method. If you do it in an incorrect manner, it bounces. Also, I'm so curious to know what has been your experience of this journey. How are you coping up? What exactly has happened? How things are working out for you? I keep receiving messages or 2 every day, and I thought I must ask all of you to do that. Like, tell me how is it how is it feeling? How is it going for you? Like, I'm really curious. So please write your experience and tell me. Somebody sent me a short video the other day. If you want to do that, that would be amazing too. It is becoming a movement. We are reaching out to, other people are reaching out to us, and we are getting so many platforms on which we are speaking about this journaling technique. So whatever movement we have already started, I think it is going very well. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of this movement, this journey, and this conversation. So I'll see you tomorrow on day 20 of our workshop at 4 p.m. on Instagram Live. Bye bye.